work has always been my card. So the work gets me the relationship. Then I use the work again to build the relationship. And the work solidifies the relationship. Just do the work. Let them see the work. Once you are good at the work,
the opportunities.
Bro, trust me, not many people are great at the work. One of the most important lessons I've learned is grit. That's never say never. That can-do spirit. This thing is more than money. This thing is an innate desire to see yourself become all that your mind has conceived. Just having that, I will bite more than I can chew. One day I go shall swallow.
I want us to talk about working with Basketmouth.
Honestly, like I said, I go for opportunities. By divine providence, I like to say, I met Basketmouth and another phase of my life started. I don't think at that time I was mentally prepared.
Well, what the journey was going to look like?
Yeah, there was the part of me that was afraid because this Basketmouth, this somebody I've held in so much honor and high esteem. I wasn't really confident in myself, but Basketmouth was graceful enough. He just kept pushing, like, don't worry. So he didn't stop. That was the beginning of our relationship, you know. We now kept doing small stuff here and there. But to be honest, to get bigger, you need to scale bigger, you need to grow.
What was like the major difference coming from just being a freelance creative to trying to build a creative agency?
First of all, for me, it was
Hi, Tayo.
Hi, Josh.
Nice to have you.
Nice to be here. Great to be here.
I love beginning stories. I had the opportunity of like speaking to different people on this platform, on this show, and a lot of times you are able to sometimes draw a straight line from some of their early experiences that actually led to where they are today or who they are becoming. While sometimes you can see vast difference. They had some certain experiences, but they intentionally just moved away from them to create the life that they wanted. I'd love to know what was growing up like for you.
Growing up, I was chill, like the first child of my family, medium average, you know, family in Lagos. My parents tried their best to give us, you know, great education. So I went to a decent primary school, secondary school. So I wouldn't say I didn't grow up on the streets, even though I had friends that were street boys. You know, but my parents, I felt like my parents were intentional in shielding us, myself and my siblings, away from that life to just, you know, give us that exposure of, oh, go to school, go to church, read your book, become successful. So that typical Nigerian family story was what I grew up to know. But getting into the world, I went to a boarding house in secondary school, you know, meeting different people from different families. Influences, positive and otherwise. You know, you pick a little from both sides. The parents are praying that the negative side does not overpower the positive. So I feel like I had a lot of influences in life and, you know, I picked up from both sides of the pendulum and I made out who I am today. So I've gone through my own fair share of struggles, personal, environmental. But at the end of the day, I found an anchor, you know, which has really now helped me to shape my life to this point. And the anchor for me was just God. So having tested out, you know, different things, I really just had to now say, okay, what will work for me going forward? And I found God at some point in my life. And now I knew God for myself, not from the fact that I was born into a Christian home. I went to a Christian secondary school, any of this stuff.
You made to pray at home at
I was made to pray. No, I really just understood that God is real, bro. And even the Bible says he knew you before he formed you. So why are you stressing? Do you get? So I really took that thing practical and I'm like, see, I always tell people, bro, I'm just a boy living on scholarship by God. So my life is a story to me as well. Being here today, I'm just here. You get me? So, so my beginning, you know, easy, typical Nigerian family, got involved in different things through influences, you know, found God at some point, and now I'm here.
This is a very, very interesting journey.
Yeah.
And then, because a lot of times, life will just like throw different things at you, and God just knows, he knows how to just like reconnect the dots and just
100%.
still lead you to himself and make things work. Before we even dive into your career choice of what to study in school and then moving from there to where you are currently. You've shared, maybe not so recently, but how at the current season in your life you like focus a lot on self-development, improving, ambition, and you moved, read books, did stuff,
Yeah.
doing everything except the Bible, right?
Exactly.
But you did it to the point that you almost like got to the end of yourself.
Yes.
And it was at that like almost breaking point that eventually like found God. I would love to know what was that experience like, and like what were the biggest lessons that you learned from that period.
Okay, so back to growing up, like I said, I came from an average family. And at some point in our lives, the average began to go below average. And, as a first child, there's the burden of responsibility. And so for me, I realized that, okay, I'm sitting at a very pivotal role, in my family. So there was pressure, not from anybody, but internally, I was just under this pressure. So I was ready to become who I had seen myself become. And that's, in the media entertainment space, I wanted to become a big name. I wanted to play, in the big league and just really do great stuff. So I was going after my ambition. Like, I am myself with strong ambition, and I was just running. I convinced myself that through hard work, connections, I would be able to achieve this goal. So I didn't care much about the place of God or the spiritual. I just felt like, see, Nami did this earth, right? So if I put in the work, I can make it happen. And I was really just going, after that. And, when you are burdened with work, things are coming left and right. There's the stress of work. Yeah. There's the stress of ambition. So there's the weight of ambition. So sometimes when those things come, you now get into vices to try and escape those things, or keep the energy moment. Yeah, exactly. To keep momentum going. So that was my life. But at a certain point too, the vices now became overwhelming, right? Where you are now like, I might not even now get to this ambition because this thing might even prevent me from, getting it. So I got tired. I realized that these things I had involved myself with were doing me more harm than good. The peace I was looking for was already running from me. So one day I was just on my own and I was just like, I know God, right? I didn't just pay any regard, to him all the while. And I just said, God, see, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this life. I'm done with running around. And I just want peace. Like, I remember the statement I made that day. I was like, God, if you can show me light, I would hold on to that for as long as I can on this earth. Like, for as long as I'm here, I'll hold on to that light, and I'll try to show anybody that I feel deserves to see it, that light as well. And in his mercy, I was listening to it. So that day I was at home, I just opened YouTube and, my YouTube, bro, was self-help. Before, bro, I'm reading books. Because I'm like, you need to develop yourself. Like, I'm a sucker for personal development, and I still am. But, now there's a balance, right? But then it was all just me trying to understand, how I can develop my mind, my brain, my consciousness, to hack myself. So I really wanted to hack myself to achieve, the goals I had set for my life. But I came to that place where I realized that, okay, God, I surrender now. Because there was a bit of ego. There was a bit of ego in my dealings with God at the time. I was like, see, I did, you did. You do your thing, I do my thing, And I was working and I was having motion. Do you understand? Bro, all this time, I was on motion, do you get? I was moving and I was like, I'm putting in the work, I'm seeing results, but I can do it all by myself, but there was something missing. There was something missing inside. I knew it. If you see me externally, you might not be able to tell. In fact, a lot of people were just, this guy, man, doing great stuff. But inside I knew, I was just washing away slowly. So that day I was at home, I was watching this YouTube video about a particular pastor was preaching, and before I knew it, I just broke down in tears. And for me, that moment was like my own Saul to Paul moment, where I just realized that, see, God, I've come to you with a broken spirit and I just want you to just help me. And from that moment on, I began to, look for, because God did not come down from heaven and say, hey, you too, you put in the effort to, look for a Bible, believe in church, get committed to his work, read your Bible, pray, develop your spirit and stuff. So that was it for me. It was just getting to the end of the road and realizing that at the end of the day, what are we really chasing? So I just found God. I'm like, see, I'd rather do it with you. Yeah, for me, nobody, like I always tell people, nobody preached to me. Nobody came to say,
do this or stop doing this.
No. I was like, I've been doing this thing this way for a long time and it's not working. But there are some people in church that are doing this thing with God. Let me also go there and see if it works. And if it does not work, at least nobody will come and meet me and say, you didn't try it before you give. No, I'll tell you, bro, there's nothing there. They're all just deceiving themselves. But I went to church and I really saw that, bro, there's a God. And it's real. Like, I began to see things. I began to experience things. I began to, see supernatural happenings in my life. And I'm like, so this is what you guys are enjoying and eating, yeah.
Successful career.
Brother, I said, forget. There's nothing anybody wants to tell me. I want to dig this well, deeper. And by the grace of God, we are still here.
You said it very calmly, like the entire journey, but like very powerful, going through that phase and coming to the point where you just knew that I think there's nothing in this current life and like there is much more. And I think that's just like the supernatural at play.
Yes.
Because some people will just have to still go through that journey of they'll need somebody to tell them that do this, stop this, and but God just leading to that point himself and then showing you the light. So you talked about the balance, right? Because there are still some people that they don't know God at all. They're also going very hard at their work and they are getting results, right? So that balance, what is that balance for you like? There might be somebody out there that also thinks that I don't think that this God is important. Let me just still try and do this all by myself. And really, the principal part of God still requires that you still must do the work.
God did not work with lazy people.
Yes. You must be good at what you do, create. Even when we look at ourselves, like how the way we think, what we've been able to create.
He gave us this ability.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, God is the one that empowered us with the giftings, with the creativity, with the brilliance. It's not any of our doing.
True.
So for me, the balance is you now putting those things to work. So you cannot say, I saw a tweet the other day where one lady was like, she knows one guy that he goes for all the prayer meetings, but he doesn't do anything, doesn't have any skill, he doesn't start any business. Bro, God is not a juju man.
Yeah.
Right? You need to put to work the giftings. You need to present, your 5 loaves and 2 fishes for him to multiply. You get? So for me, that's the balance.
There's one particular quote that I love, which is the Christian shoemaker does not have to show or represent Jesus by putting crosses on every of his shoes. But from the quality of the shoes, the excellence he puts inside, he's still communicating that.
I see. And I think it's the truth, It's not until you carry, God, Jesus, even through your person, through, are you the kind of person that they will be calling, you will not pick call 20 times.
Not communicate.
But it's you will be seen on, on church Instagram page, crying. So we must always find that balance where, your works, the fruits can also show that this one.
Something different.
Yeah, there's something different about this person. Yeah, so I agree.
Let's talk about your career journey and how it has evolved prior to university.
Prior to university.
Yes. What led to the decision to study law?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Oba University. I'm sure other
the greatest Ife.
Greatest other universities. Yeah. You see, it's past glory. Well,
forget it. Nothing like past glory. Glory is glory.
Glory is glory. Yeah. So, what led to that decision to study law, and then what was it like leaving school? Was there a particular point, maybe while in school, after school, that you knew that, okay, maybe for the first few years outside school, I might not really practice We don't know what the
Yeah.
future holds. Yeah, what was it like?
Funny story, I was literally having this conversation with my dad earlier today, and we're just, reminiscing on this, period of time in my life. So I was actually in the University of Abuja, right? When I left secondary school, I got admitted into the University of Abuja, and I was doing economics, but I was a pure art student, and economics was not a first choice. I wanted to do law. Even that law I wanted to do then, it was still based on influence, and I was a teenager. I didn't really know much. So I was doing this economics. I was in part 100 level, first semester, and bro, I was like, oh no, these things are strange to me. Like,
It doesn't feel natural.
It doesn't feel like, bro.
It.
I was doing geography. I never did geography in secondary school. I was doing further maths, and bro, I'm like, oh, this feels like hell. So one day I just pick up my phone and I just call home. I'm like, see, I can't do this one. Like, I can't do this thing anymore. And it was like, no, why are you saying you can't do it? People they see giving up as a sign of weakness. But I saw that one as, this is me actually coming up strong to say, this thing, I don't want to do it because I don't feel anything for it.
Hi there, I know you're enjoying this episode, but we need you to do something. Please double check if you've subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, click on the subscribe button, like, share, and most importantly, leave a comment. Tell us what you found very insightful, very valuable from this episode so far, or by the time you complete the entire video. Please do that right now. That is one way that it can help us to continue to keep the lights on. Please do that. You can get right back into the video.
And everybody raised opposition. Yeah. But at some point, they were like, okay, now what do you want to do? But because around that time, I was in a church, right, in Abuja then, and I'd been involved in the media. That was my first encounter with like the media, camera, things like that. And I loved it. I'm like, I like this thing.
It's cool.
Yeah, like I found myself gravitating towards it naturally. So they were like, what do you want to do? I'm like, let's go to mass comm in Unilag, right? I'm in Abuja. I want to even come back home. So Unilag is closed, and I want to do what I love. Mass comm is closest to this thing.
Perfect.
Typical Nigerian parents now, you can imagine what they said. Mass comm, where
will you work? What will you do?
So I'm like, they're like, nah, forget that story. You know what? If you're ever going to do anything, we see this law that they didn't give you here, that you're going to do somewhere else. And my mom was like, man, she heard about, OAU, they have this thing called the pre-degree program. She thinks it's something I can enroll for. And I'm like, well, if anything's going to take me away from this economics,
let's do
it. So at that point, they shipped me from Abuja to Ife. I started preparing for the pre-degree program in Ife. But then I already communicated to them my love for media, for entertainment, for things like that. So they were already aware, because I was also insistent on that mass comm for a bit before I sort of said, okay, you know what, this Ife thing, I'll subscribe to it. On the condition that they also would allow, like, they did not discard it absolutely, but they also came from the point of, you can always do this thing.
Maybe on the side.
Just
do this one.
You don't need to take it as a professional thing. So they gave me instances of Femi Adebayo, Funke Akindele, people that went to study law, but eventually. So me, so I was like, fair point, So I went to subscribe to Ife, the pre-degree program. I got enrolled. I did that for a year. So in between pre-degree and OAU resuming, they gave us a long time to stay at home, not because of anything, but because they care for us. It's not like the art strike and all this type of thing. They just gave us...
Go and rest for this long period. While your mates in private schools are moving fast.
It's all perspective, Okay. If I didn't have that time, I'd probably not be here today.
Sure.
So they gave us like a year, So I took it like a gap year. And my mom actually found someone that was running a media company at the time in Ikeja, Mr. Neil. And she connected me to him. So she had met him through our office. He came to do some work for them. And she just, spoke about me. Like, I have a son that is interested in this thing. And the man spoke to me too on the phone. And I was like, hey, when you're done, come to Lagos. Let's meet. And I was so excited to meet him. So when I was done with pre-degree, I was now in Lagos, and I began to follow up with him. And that was when my journey started, So he was the MD CEO he's still the MD CEO of Lighthouse, So a production company in Ikeja. So I came in as like a junior research assistant or a junior researcher, basically. Bro, it was just sharp be doing something, because I really didn't have any, skill at the time. So coming in, I began working with them, worked on projects, documentaries, commercials. I just got exposed to this world of filmmaking, media, production, advertising. And in that period of time, I also got to feature in one or two, commercials. Because I was outspoken, I was confident. So a couple people, Tayo, you fit this role. Come, let's cast you. So I just got exposed to this thing. In that same period too, I began to work as a production assistant, on some commercial projects. And I just found myself interested in this world, right? So I remember then I used to go to the editing suite in the office. I'll sit down with the editors, see them working on Premiere Pro at the time. I didn't understand anything they were doing, but I was just watching. Then I asked one guy, oh, please, can you give me a tutorial or something to learn? So the guy gave me this, Linda. I don't know if you know Linda. Yeah, so he gave me Linda.com, Premiere Pro. Then I'll go back home. I didn't have a laptop at the time. So I go back home on my phone. I had a notebook. So every night, if I go back home, I open Linda, watch one episode.
Right.
I was writing. So I was learning it theoretically, learning and writing on that, exercise book. And I did that for, let's say, the period of 9 months while I was there. I never had the opportunity to practice except maybe when they give me an opportunity in the office, which was almost very little or not even there. So yeah, I did that and I got into Ife. When Ife now called us to resume, and I went to Ife. But by then, I had this journey, this experience, this exposure. Already. So even going into Ife, I was already convinced that, this thing is what I want to do.
Eventually.
Do you understand? So even resuming, law, 400 level, bro, I was not thrilled. Like, I was not, my bro, I'd seen money. Do you understand? From doing this thing, even in this little way, I had touched, some money as a teenager then. So I was like, this way the meat is, boiling, So that was the journey for me, and I kept going. And opportunities came, and I took the opportunities. So I got into Ife, I tried different stuff, and because I was really passionate about this thing, when an opportunity, came to me at the time, I would grab it. I would grab it. Like, I was not thinking like, oh, how will it, bro? Because I already convinced myself that, Tayo, this is your own.
Interesting. Some of the things that you said actually that stood out for me. It's also like going for opportunities, not waiting, and also how influential our parents also are in our journeys. Your mom finding out 100%. Somebody, connecting them to you, and making it work. You had great 9 months there, which have formed a very solid foundation. For where you are. So leaving school to now finding your footing in the entertainment industry, producing, eventually starting out your own studio, Patayo Studios. What was the journey like, and what are you like hoping for in terms of what you also want to achieve personally?
Man, I was reflecting on this. It's very funny that a lot of these questions you're asking me are things that conversations have brought to me in recent times. So last night I was talking to a friend, and I really just went down memory lane on how, my journey in the media entertainment space, started. It also boils down to opportunities. It also boils down to, taking the right opportunities when they come at you. I was in school in 2018. I used to do videos then. I started doing videos when I was in 300 level. So then photography was really big in Ife, and a lot of my guys were into it. So I was thinking that I wanted to do business, right? I had a brand called Ankara Boy then, but I realized that, bro, if you're popular and you don't have money,
that popularity will get killed.
Bro, like, you go suffer because you know even go out, can't get money. Bro, I just said, Tayo, die this brand thing you're building and really go and work. So I first started the business, that one crashed. Then I realized that, okay, see, I'm interested in this media thing. Like, the sooner I get to doing, the faster I'll get to mastering. So
I need to say that again, so that the sooner you get to doing,
the sooner I get to doing, the faster I'll get to mastery. So I realized I needed to jumpstart, you know, this journey because I was like, make I finish it. Maybe when I leave school, I'll start. So, but I was like, photography was saturated. I had a lot of my friends doing photography. I'm like, will I start competing with these guys too for birthday shoots, this one? Because birthday shoots were the in thing at the time. So I realized that like people are not really into videos, right? So I'm like, see, Tayo, bone this photography, pick videos. As a video guy, you can complement every of your friend that's
whenever
a
they
photographer.
have
Whenever
shoots.
they have shoots, you can also sell the idea of let this person do video. So I doubled down on being a videographer then in school. And one day, one of the guys that had done a video project for, who was an artist, calls me and is like, yo, somebody saw one video or something you did for me. The guy's in Lagos. He asked for your number. I've sent your number to them. They'll probably reach out to you, I'm like, okay. And lo and behold, the person reached out to me that time and he's like, his name is Levi, He's working in this company in Lagos. They need somebody to work with. One of their talents was a talent management company.
Okay.
And he said, can I come in for a meeting? I'm like, okay. I did my small research on the guy. I realized that, this guy is looking like he's working for some cool people. But I'm like, let me see, Sha. I get to Lagos, I get to that meeting somewhere on the island. I get into the office and I just see like, wow, this is the plug, right? The same plug that, that was managing a whole bunch of DMW artists at the time. And I was like, wow, man, this cool stuff.
It's going.
And I'm like, okay, let's see how this conversation will go. I have the meeting, he tells me we have this guy, he's a DJ, we're trying to push him, we need a videographer that can just be accompanying him to do stuff. I'm like, I'm down, but bro, I'm not in Unilago, I'm in OAU, and that's like Ocean State type thing. And the guy was like, well, if you can always show up, I don't care. I'm like, okay, let's go. Because like I said, I already zeroed in my mind that this is my own journey. Whatever I was doing in Ife, I was doing it here, but I didn't really see it like,
this is what you wanted to
become a big lawyer. Now, honestly, I never really saw it that way. So for me, this was my own opportunity. This was my own internship. This was my own, learning phase. So I took up the opportunity and I began to show up. I began to come around. And the guy was like, okay, you know what? There's one party we usually organize, just called Mainland Block Party at the time. And I'm like, I've not heard about this party. Like, yeah, it's something they do every month. I'm like, okay. He said, can you just stay around and just enjoy and experience it? I'm like, yeah, cool. Maybe you could even make videos. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I stay back and make videos for Mainland Block Party and I go back to school. Long story short, I began to shoot Mainland Block Party the next month. Like I became the official videographer for Mainland Block Party and I did that for almost 2 years. And I was still in school all this while because I was just in 300, entering 400. So through 2018, through 2019, I did all of this. And through my association with these brands, I began to meet a lot of other people too in the entertainment space, music space, and I was just doing a lot more stuff. So I feel like my journey has taken different phases, to be honest. So that phase ended in maybe 2020, like January before COVID. Then COVID came to, another journey started with me. Then I found myself living in an artist house. By divine providence, I like to say, I met Basketmouth. And another phase of my life started again. You feel me? So that's just been my journey. But my journey has just been laced with me seizing opportunities, right? If I trace it back, it's just me seeing an opportunity, afraid or not, bro, I dive in, and at the end of the day, when I get in, I'm just like, wow, okay, God really just, helps me through it, consciously, even unconsciously, like to my knowledge. I just always find myself, moving through it with grace. So yeah, that's just been it.
Yeah, and I think it just shows how much work people need to put in, or like we just need to put in to just create opportunities, right? Not just sitting back. You creating videos in school for people, even though they are not paying you well.
Exactly, bro.
Just one.
Not even well. Some of them are not paying me at all.
Yeah, but you were creating, and then just one opportunity,
actually,
Lagos, and while you were still in school, because there might still be students that are still in school that they already have one skill, might be development, might be photography, but they just still think that yes, they can't really make something for themselves. Bro. But hearing this kind of story that just keep doing the work.
Just keep doing the work. I feel like for me, the work has never failed me. Just do the work. Just do the work. Let them see the work. And once you are good at the work,
the opportunities will
bro,
come.
like, trust me, not many people are great at the work. So as long as you get yourself to the point where you're really great at the work and you get them to see the work, you'll be fine. Like, everything is just a matter of time. Bro, time is the best storyteller. If you just stay very patient with time and do your thing, like, you just put in your own reps, bro, time would favor everybody. You know, so for me, the work has always been my card. You know, my card. So the work gets me the relationships. Then I use the work again to build the relationships. You know, then the work solidifies the relationship. There's a place of
possibly open up new relationships.
Exactly.
Again.
That's what I'm saying. So it layers it. You know, there's a place of grace, there's a place of favor, there's all of that undoubtedly, right? But there's the undeniable role that the work also plays. And I remember you asking the question about how the Patayo Studios then now came about.
Yeah.
So I've always been Giveittotayo. But I realized that, okay, guy, one man army. You shoot, you edit, you do this, you do that. Yeah, you're great at it, but you might never really be able to scale at this stage, you know? So, yeah, through relationships, through advice, counsel, I realized that, okay, there's a way people do this thing, you know? It's not more about, oh, you just want to do this as a freelancer. You need to build it into a structure where you can ask for more, you know, collect more, do more. So I realized that, okay, guy, you need to, like, take a step back and really build the foundations. So that was when I now started developing Patayo Studios, which now serves as more than even a video production company. It's now a creative agency where, you know, you can come in for any creative ask, you know, and we definitely have a solution for you.
When you talk about building proper foundation, like you now had to move from just that freelance creative that takes the job, do all of the cutting, to now like building an house where just you alone.
So you don't even know who's doing your work.
Yeah,
it's not Giveittotayo.
Stuffs are getting done.
Exactly.
And you're
so
moving forward.
And for me too, it's also teaching you to not be greedy. Because sometimes as a freelancer, bro, you want to eat a lot, but in trying to eat a lot, bro, you're even eating small. You get, so you're the one shooting, editing, collecting sound, doing this one. You're going alone, carrying game bar, running up and down.
But once you start to collaborate and do stuff with people,
this person you have a bigger budget because now you're calculating everybody's money inside, and your own money too is still inside. So the budget is bigger, but because they trust, you know, you and your work, and you know the quality of work you do and the excellence you carry, they will still give you, because now they respect that. Okay, this person too has begun to see value in what he's doing. If not, bro, nobody will come out. Is there someone that likes to say, "Oh my bro, I think you need to package this so I can give you more money"? But if you're pricing yourself, shaking it, bro, this is what you want, that way, I take it, because they know you will still put in your best, regardless of, but if you know there's room to collect more, why not go for it?
In terms of the foundations and mindset shift, what are like the major difference coming from just being a freelance creative to trying to build a creative agency?
First of all, for me, it was, you're not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to show you I'm the best editor or I'm the best cinematographer or me sabi the angles pass. I'm not trying to impress you. So mine is, what does my client want? I want to deliver that and even go above that, you know. So understanding that it's not really about my ego first makes it easy to say, okay, Tayo, you don't have to do everything. There are people that might be better than you in this thing. Hire them to get this thing done. What's your own strength? Stay there, direct it. Do you understand? Let your eye, you know, do the work rather than you say, no, you want to hold everything. No, that's what these people are paying you for at the end of the day. Your taste, you know, is not something that anybody can say he has as well. So understanding that first, also putting away greed. Because it's when you want to eat the money alone. Now you want chop this, chop that, chop everything. You got to share for the boys. You get, let people also benefit from you. Let people also say, bro, past 3 months, you really don't sort me out. Gone. Yeah, for me, that's the joy. Like, me and my guys can sit on the table and share money. So also understanding that this thing is bigger than me. Where if I'm not here tomorrow, if anything happens to me, God forbid, I can know that there is a system that has been set in place
that also deliver
quality stuff. I heard one thing where someone said the problem with Africa is the fact that we don't have transgenerational
Businesses that has lasted 100 years,
we don't have those things.
150.
So that's why we always have to start again. We always have to start again. We always have to start again. So for me, how do I, in the media entertainment space, how do I create something that if I'm no more here, if my child or if a partner or if someone that has worked with me for, or just even an external CEO that is employed wants to take this thing to the next level, like it's just legacy. It's just, building legacy. So those were the mindset shifts that had to happen in my mind, understanding that to get bigger, you need to scale bigger. Like you need to grow. So I'm really on that journey of being a media mogul. You got me.
Yeah.
So our media moguls don't run around carrying gimbal and other stuff. So,
More strategic,
exactly.
more.
So this is where the work is. You feel me? This is where the work is. So I really tried to now develop that and see how we can now build the systems to scale. Because, bro, people laid the foundations for what we even enjoy today, right? A lot of people have done this work, and a lot of people have put in the work, increased the standard, like set, a new standard. So me too, I'm like, okay, what can I do for the guys coming, for the children yet unborn, to say, there's quality happenings here, and it's due to the fact that people like this, people like this, people like this really, put in the work.
Yeah, that's like a very brilliant way to think about it and dream for really big stuff. I want us to talk about working with Basketmouth. Because I know a lot of young people, young dreamers, are hoping that they'll get that opportunity, that big break to work with one superstar talent, whether in the music industry, comedy industry, in the entertainment or film industry, in any industry entirely, or some are hoping that they'll get that opportunity to work with that very big brand. Like, how did that happen for you? And then, just to dig in a bit in terms of some of the things you've learned working with someone like that.
First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Basketmouth. Like, that's a true OG right there. I've worked in the entertainment business for years, and, I stand to be corrected. There are very few people like Basketmouth. And this is not even me trying to, wash him or hype him or anything. No, but like the heart, is where it all lies. And I was just blessed. I saw it as like, my work with Basketmouth for me was just like a period of internship. It was God really just putting me with this person I'd always admired, right? I feel like God has blessed me with taste, and I've always had this taste without trying to sound, I've always had taste. And for me, Basketmouth was someone I saw, like, if I'm looking for the kind of taste I have, I saw him as someone that actually carried, that level of taste, finesse, excellence. And because I'd always admired Basketmouth, I saw a post on Instagram then saying it was having an album listening party. I'm like, wait, Basketmouth is releasing an album.
How?
How?
Because we've known him just for
comedy, flatmates and stuff like that. I'm like, this guy's doing an album. This guy, like, so I was really thrilled. I was like, okay, you know what? I think I want to be there. So even just listen and see, just take myself away from this depression of there's no work, COVID. And two of my clients I'd worked with in the past, who were like, also friends with me, Oxlade and Caveman, they were also on the project. So I felt, getting there, I'll see familiar faces now. It can't be that bad, you get. So I took my guy's camera, took 85mm to go and shoot events. I just felt like, Tayo, just
carry something.
Carry something and just, enjoy yourself. Like, let go, This is not a paid event. Nobody invited you to this place. Just go there, catch your cruise, feel good with yourself. Because the work is something I love. Do you understand? So it's also my means of escape. So I went there, found my way to get in one way or the other, and I began to just film like a journalist, like every other media partner there. But I was observing, I was listening, I was watching, and I was just doing my thing. Basketmouth comes in, everybody, Basketmouth. They try to get an interview with him. I also get an interview with him. Like, I remember him asking me, what media company are you with? I think I just said something then, so I can't remember, and he goes in, but as he's walking in, I don't even know where this confidence came from, to be honest. I approach him and I'm like, sir, can I ask you a question? I was like, yeah, like, these songs that you've released now, do you have plans of making videos for these songs? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, I would really like to work with you on thinking about it now, like, bro, how? But that's me. Honestly, like I said, I go for opportunities. Even though I didn't even know how they would form or come about. I could confidently walk up to him. And he really just said, this is not the place. And he didn't even see it from a place of, bro, this was an event where he's trying to put everything together. So it was under pressure. So he just sort of said, you know what? We'll get to that at some other time. So low-key, I was really feeling bad. This guy just shanked me. But bro, God sees my heart. As I was walking here, I was like, this guy don't even know me. Like, bro, what are you feeling bad about? Free, Jerry. This guy will probably forget about you before the end of this event. And I went about doing my stuff. In that event, I met a friend who was also a media partner. I was like, bro, is anybody filming for you? Yeah, he was like, no. I'm like, okay, you know what? This video I'm doing, I'm not going to probably post it or do anything. I'll just give you as, your own content. So you guys can post it as your brand's content. No. So I kept doing my stuff. And at another point, I realized that I met the producer that produced the whole entire album, Dr. Seth. So I saw him having a conversation with a friend of his, Paladin, who was his manager at the time. So they're having this conversation, and I'm like, you know what, guys, I want to film you guys, but I give them a very dynamic angle to it. And the guy's impressed, like, your own style different, too. Give me your number, I like you. If you work. I'm like, bro, it's Lagos. Anybody if he call you for work. So I exchanged contacts with Paladin, and that event, I didn't even stay till the event started. Like to the beginning of the event, because I had another meeting somewhere. I just filmed a couple clips, observed. I'd listened to all the songs, because we were playing it before the event. I'm like, okay, this is not bad. And I packed up my stuff and I left. And I put together the video the next day. I sent it to my friend, he posted it, and the next thing I received is a call from him saying, the organizers of this event like the video, bro. I'm like, okay, that's cool. No, bro, like, I had moved on with my life. Like, I had moved on. I had enjoyed the experience. I had gone away from it. Then, a few hours later, I see a message from somebody, who is also in the industry, and it's just like, this egbon you just get, And get like, Giveittotayo, well done, I see you. And then I'm like, for this guy to message me, something has moved, right? So my mind just said, go and check Basketmouth's page. I go to Basketmouth's page because that guy has come that the organizer, who is the organizer of the event? Basket. What was he going to use to promote it? Is his page. I go there and I see the video. He didn't tag me, but because I put Giveittotayo at the end, so it made sense for anyone that knows me to say, Tayo make this video. Few days later, I received a call, and on the other end of the phone is, hi, is this Tayo? My name is Basketmouth. And I'm like, yo. But because I've worked with entertainers, I kept it cool, like, bro, I understand how to roll. So, our boss, last year, rather that, it's like, save my number, we'll talk. And that's it. And, he called me sometime, maybe a week thereabout later. I was like, out of the blues, bro, Basketmouth. I was literally with my guys in a music recording camp somewhere in Oniru. And bro, all of us don't day. Like, but then I was not even in church, you understand? So we just day as we day. You get? So called me and is like, bro, please, I need you to do me a favor. Like, I need to shoot something for Papa Benji, which was just coming out then. So the album was the soundtrack for Papa Benji, right? But they had a scene that they needed a pickup scene for Papa Benji. And that was the intro. So like, man, I'm just going to send you a voiceover. Please, I need you to help me, put this thing together, shoot it, edit it, send it back to me. I'm like, bro, when do you need this thing? He said, like, they need to use it tomorrow. I'm like, So he's like, this person just, put reggae to my blues. So I was like, tomorrow. And tomorrow is too, I didn't even have camera, nothing with me, no location. Bro, it was like, it just, when someone gives you a voiceover and you just have to create a video that fits. It's not even in the time of AI now where I can just go online and use AI, prompts and stuff. I had to go and shoot, edit, and deliver that same day because they need it tomorrow. So I'm like, should I just tell this bro, say, I know they're available now. So my guy who was the artist there, I'm like, guy, hear this matter, advise me. And the guy is like, can you do it? I'm like, yeah, I can. He's like, no worry, they go. And for me, that was like, why this guy say this thing now?
If you had said don't go, you'd
If
have
you had
just
said, oh my guy, bone this thing, Joe, me will gather there. I say, hey, that's the, I see in my mind too. But the fact that the guy really just said, can you do it? And honestly, I could. It would just stretch me. I was like, no wala. So I left them in Oniru. I collected the voiceover from him. I went to Ikeja. I had to go to a bar. So we near the local bar. So I remember, okay, I used to stay in Ikeja with some of my guys. Baby, I knew there was some local bar there. I went there, gathered street boys, gave them money. Bro, like basket just sent me on errand. At that point, there was nothing. He just, to me, me good here. Like I said to the boys, I found a gimbal, found camera. I shot everything, paid those boys, bought drinks for them, sorted everything, came back to the island. This was already like 10, 11. Sat down, edited it, put the voiceover under, and I sent it to him like maybe past 11. And I was just like, God, okay, now I've sent Basketmouth a video.
Let's see
his reaction. And the first thing he just said was, love it. Brother, you see that love it, eh? Everybody for that house. Say, something's up with Tayo. Because I was so excited. I'm like, Basketmouth like my video.
Wow.
Come on for the end now.
It's good.
So it was like, you know what, he likes it, give me some feedback to just change one or two things there. And bro, I was at the premiere the next day because I was already even shooting for a brand that was sponsoring the premiere. So like, would I be around? I'm like, yes, I'm even working for one brand. Okay. And I saw the way the video came out and I was just so proud. But they even put my name for the title thing. Like, do you get? I'm like, this. So that was like one of my first proud moments of seeing,
I think I'm like, my life is
like, I know small, do you get? Like, I was involved in a project that was so big that I would never have thought I would work in that kind of capacity with someone like Basketmouth. So that was it for me. And it was later on safe that he made me realize that that thing was a test.
Oh.
Because they could have done it, bro, they had a team that could have executed that stuff. But according to him, he wanted to see if does this guy really have it? So if I had turned down that thing that day, maybe not. Maybe all of this that has happened in the past 5 years, maybe not. You get? So, like I said, opportunity. Just having that thing, like, okay, I will bite more than I can chew. One day I go shall swallow them. You get? So that was the beginning of our relationship. We now kept doing small stuff here and there. But to be honest, I don't think at that time I was mentally prepared.
For what the journey was going to look like.
Yeah. So there was the part of me that was afraid. Because this Basketmouth, like, this is somebody I've held in so much, honor and high esteem. And me, I'm like, we just they shoot, they edit small things. Can I serve this person on this level this person needs?
That serves millions of people.
Bro, do you understand?
This brand.
So I'm like, make this guy know, make I know for this guy brand. You get? So I wasn't really confident in myself, but Basketmouth was graceful enough. He just kept, pushing, like, don't worry, like. So he didn't stop. Like, when someone calls you and I'm not available, and the person calls you again tomorrow, at some point I'm like, see, Tayo, there are only two things involved. It's either you fail or you succeed.
If you succeed.
So for me, I really just said, see, guy, afraid or not, let's do it. So I began to show up more often. And Basketmouth taught me a lot. Still teaching me a lot, right? Like, bro, I can't lie. That man, genius is an understatement, right? So, like I said, that's why I said, for me, it was like an internship. It was like God just putting me with this person that would really show me the way and show me how to go about it, So it was less noise. So I was no more, like when I met him, I stopped being everywhere. I was now saying, okay, now I want to understand this thing. Like
how it works.
It taught me storytelling. It might not have understood how to operate Premiere Pro, this one, but he understood how, no, this one should come before this one. You go touch the laptop, but
he has an idea, that big picture.
Yes. So he allowed me see through his eyes. He was humble enough, vulnerable enough, and the relationship just blossomed, from there. And this was as far back as 2021. This was like this time 2021, yeah. So that's like 5 years deep, in this relationship.
There will be someone out there that will get to see this video that will still get inspired.
I really do hope so.
Yeah. And be hopeful that there's still something out there that can still come for them.
Yeah.
Once they can just like still play their own parts, because there were a lot of, at different point in time, that you made certain decisions that eventually like added up, showing up at places. If you are like, he later told you that was a test. If you had just said no, it was convenient for you to have just stayed next with the boys, enjoy yourself, but deciding, and then that belief in yourself, having the right people again. Thank God you asked that your friend, and they told you, can you do it?
Novo, shout out to you, man.
Yeah, can you do it? And you said, yeah, could you say just go for it? And you went on, so that's like, more like being a very high agentic person, just like putting yourself out there. Eventually things led to things, and you worked with him for this number of years. Having proximity to someone like Basketmouth that had longevity in the game, not just as a comedian, as an actor, as a builder, a creative person, an ecosystem all by his own self, in his own right? That proximity to him, so much cultural relevance. What are like the biggest lessons? You've talked about storytelling. What are like other bigger lessons that you've like learned from just being in that proximity with him?
So what has sustained the brand till now? Grit. That's never say never. That can-do spirit. Basket no dey give up. There's something I always say, no do mistake, teach him something. Because bro, he go sabi and pass you. Like bro, Basketmouth was not editing before I knew him. Today, Basketmouth is an editor. And when I say the Basketmouth, they edit videos. Some videos where you see, bro, now Basketmouth they cut out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, he's that person that arms himself with that hunger. Bro, there's some nights that we're talking, I'm like, this guy, you don't make him now. Like, you've made it. What are you looking for? But that fire is still burning. This thing is more than money. This thing is an innate desire to see yourself become all that your mind has conceived.
Let's talk about Nigeria film people. What exactly is the vision for Nigeria film people?
Okay, now let me enter my CEO Mogu vibe.
Let's go.
But yeah, for me, Nigeria film people is, sowing into the future. And I believe the Nigerian film and television industry has a lot of glory days ahead. And this is me just positioning myself rightly, to be fair and honest. And I've produced 2 shows under Nigeria Film People now. I produced a documentary called The Other Side of Bright, which documented Basketmouth's tour in 2024, I guess. And recently we produced a 5-episode series called The Average Nigerian. The Average Nigerian was a show that was born out of my desire to know more. I'm a curious individual. I ask a lot of questions. I want to understand history. I want to know why this is this, why that is that. And what's a better way to educate yourself than, learning it alongside a group of other people. So myself, in collaboration with Emechi Dera, a fantastic, comedian, we came together, alongside Abiodun Odu, who directed the show. And we put together this show, put the script, we had 5 episodes, limited resources, with the help of, some partners, sponsors, we were able to put together 5 episodes. And for me, it was also pouring into the populace so that the Nigeria we want, it will not come from up. I don't believe Nigeria will want to come from up. Yes, I think it's going to come from amongst the people. Because the leadership at the top right now, bro, they did not come from up.
Yeah,
they came from amongst the people. So if a change is going to occur, it's going to start from me, it's going to start from me. And if we don't know better, if our mindset, is not framed in a way that seeks advancement or even seeks to question, why is this thing the norm?
Challenge the system.
Challenge the system. If you don't curate your mind, to say, I want to see the positive, I want to see a change, you might never really even see a why, but be armed in your mind and your spirit of where you are going to.
20 years from now, or maybe 10 years, what cultural imprints do you want your work to have made on the maybe film industry, or just Nigeria in general, or Africa, or the world?
Wow, that's a very thoughtful question. I want to be known as a proponent of African excellence. I want to be that guy that promotes African excellence. And for me, those two words, if you dip it, they're somehow ironical. Because some of the most excellent stuff in the world are not from this part of the world. But I want to be known as that guy, a symbol of African excellence. A symbol, yes, a symbol of African excellence. Where people globally, you're now on global stages, but they know that this one is from Africa.
And it represents excellence.
But it represents excellence, you know, and really just redefine the expectations. You know, when I see great people, like go back to Basketmouth, you know, you go back to live sports, Dara Talade and his wife, and, you know, you go back to people like DTF Young, that did the Black Book, or, you know, great minds. They are endless, even in the Afrobeat space.
Yeah.
That's African excellence.
The Davidos, Whiskey, the Bonners, consistently going out there.
If you look at
different countries.
Bro, we watch these things on Instagram and it's just like another content. Brother, the hours of rehearsal, the weeks, the months of studio sessions, the setting up of that stage, the ideation, the execution.
The number of people that even come together to make it work. So much.
You know, sometimes it's when things are working well, everybody just tends to overlook it. But when something goes wrong, everybody realizes that,
this is what it takes.
So for me, joining that league of excellent people, Nathaniel is a man of excellence. Don't see. Like, these people are serving God, you know, through their ministry, but you can still see a touch of excellence.
Yeah.
Those people will not say because we must release a song, they will listen to it now regardless. You just drop it anyhow. No.
Yeah. Or the power of God will move. Let's just sing it anyhow.
From the video to the artwork to the distribution to the rollout, you can see intentionality and excellence layered through. So for me, like, getting my work to that place where you can tell, even if you cannot tell, but whenever you come to the knowledge of it or you come in contact with it, you say, wow, you know, see how they did this thing and made this thing like this. I'm inspired. I'm impressed. Me too, when I want to do my own thing, it can't be lesser than this. And before you know it, you've created, you know, different people of excellent mindsets across board. Yeah, so for me, that's the cultural imprint, man.
Thank you so much, Giveittotayo. I actually hope that if you've listened to this point or you watched this point, not only do you feel inspired that you've gotten like practical insights that you can go and implement, just go out, just 1% change, 1 degree deviation from where you are can like make the entire difference.
Absolutely.
We talked about even Basketmouth journey, grit. Like if you don't even take anything, like just that grit alone and not comparing yourself to anyone, like it's so much that we can make do with. We'll continue to bring top and amazing people doing cool stuff to inspire you, to still remind you that you can do great things from even small places. We can be examples of that African excellence.
Yes,
symbols.
Yes,
we'll join Giveittotayo.
Let's push Africa to the world.
Yeah, to the world. Thank you guys for watching and for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
Bye.